Greetings, smoky fooks of the interwebs. Glad to have you back for another installment of Alexa trying to look up how to pronounce everything, but here goes nothing. Oh. Pardon me, I'm getting ahead of myself. My name is Alexa, and I'm the resident ooky spooky girly around here. And in today's installment of Where in the World Creeptastic, we're traveling to Wales, which is located in the UK, near England. Please let me know in the comments where we should talk about next, and before I get carried away and try comparing myself to Carmen Sandiego, here are the top 5 scary unsolved mysteries from Wales. In 5th place, we have the sunken kingdom of Camtre'r Gwaelod. I swear I do look up pronunciations for words, I really do. Anywho, welcome to a place that has a lot of things in common with the legendary Atlantis. Cardigan Bay is home to some outstanding coastal trails overlooking the bay, with many people saying that they can see glimmers of buildings underneath the water. And that has led to the story of the sunken kingdom, a city that was once thriving that had been lost to the waves due to the carelessness of a lockkeeper called Scythonin. People still claim that you can see the buildings and hear the bells ringing out to this day. So it was originally a fertile and prosperous kingdom, with no fewer than 16 heavily populated cities, and was said to occupy a lush, fertile area that laid on a stretch of land running between Ramsay Island and Bardsey Island, which is now Cardigan Bay, West Wales. But it was like low-lying. A number of steep embankments and gates have been built to protect the land from flooding. There was a system of gates to allow water to enter the kingdom in order to irrigate the agricultural pastures. The kingdom was ruled by Gwydno Garahir, and he had made his friend Scythonin guardian of the sea defenses, a role that included making sure the gates were shut every night. However, after a night of revelry at the king's palace, Scythonin stumbled drunkenly into bed without checking that the gates were closed, and unfortunately, it happened to be a stormy night that night, and the high spring tides broke through the defenses, quickly flooding the entire area and forcing its people to escape to the hills. So, there is physical evidence that inhabited land did disappear under the waves during the period that the tale is set, as well as the stumps of an ancient sunken forest that can be seen at very low tide at Inislas. Archaeologists have also found a timber walkway dated between 3,000 to 4,000 years ago, which was probably built so locals could continue to live in an increasingly waterlogged environment. In 1770, a Welsh scholar by the name of William Owen Pugh reported seeing sunken human habitations about 4 miles off the Ceredigion coast, between the rivers Ystwyth and Teifi. Human and animal footprints have also been found preserved in the hardened top layer of peat, along with burnt stones that came from ancient hearths. In 4th place, we have the Berwyn Mountains UFO, known as the Roswell event, after similarities with the infamous Roswell extraterrestrial event in the US. The cause of this 1974 phenomenon is still very much up for debate, something I like to hear. So on the evening of the 23rd of January in 1974, residents of the Berwyn Mountains area in northern Wales reported a loud noise and a bright light in the sky. A Ministry of Defense investigation found that there were about 5 other reports of UFOs seen over the UK at 10 p.m. that same night, which is when this incident happened. 3 sightings were in the home counties, 1 in Lincolnshire and another in Sussex. Witnesses reported seeing a bright light in the northwest which seemed to fall towards the horizon. An expert who undertook independent research into the Berwyn Mountains incident for the British Astronomical Society reported that a fireball was visible over most of the UK that night. Now, sightings were received from Somerset, Norfolk, Manchester, and Edinburgh, which is noted. The fireball descended from about 120 kilometers in the sky to about 35 kilometers before disintegrating over Manchester. UFO experts claimed that a UFO crashed and the British government covered up the military's recovery of a crashed spaceship. Witnesses claimed to see a bright ball of yellow over top before feeling a huge tremor underfoot. Now, many have tried to make sense of it all, and the list of theories is as long as my arm. And still, no one really knows what happened, not even those who live in the Berwyn Mountains. In 3rd place, we have the death of Hugh Watson. Alrighty, time for a bunch of wild facts. So when a barn in Landsworth burned to a crisp in December of 1976, firefighters found the body of a 77-year-old man who lived alone, had no relatives, and was last seen drinking at the local Pennyburn Hotel in Landsworth, which was a location he was known to frequent often. Pardon me, I totally forgot the part where he had been stabbed 22 times with either a pitchfork or a screwdriver, because, you know, that's totally normal and not overkill at all. So most theories actually lean more towards the pitchfork theory, and while I get he was found in a barn, that completely boggles my mind. I guess it was a weapon of convenience, but cripes. Detectives have managed to learn that the old man had mobility difficulties and walked with the aid of 2 sticks, so they believed he must have been carried into the hayloft where he later died, since he never really could have climbed up there by himself. A post-mortem investigation revealed that some of his wounds were serious, but others were superficial, suggesting that whoever committed the crime spent some time in the barn with them. That same investigation found he died from asphyxia, and over 6,000 people were interviewed in hopes of some kind of information coming to light. Detectives were drafted in from across the region to trace any anyone who saw him that night, but so far, we got nothing. Who knows? In second place, we have Teggie. I swear, people need to get a lot more creative with naming their river monsters. So many monikers are just poor knockoffs of Nessie, and unknown creatures deserve better than being the equivalent of a dollar store knockoff toy. Just saying. Located in Lintigid, or Bala Lake in English, lies the legend of Teggie. Look, I'm gonna go for the English versions, folks. You've heard me butcher enough. First spotted in 1975, Teggie is thought to be an amphibian around 12 feet in length, described as a grayish brown or black in color, and typically between 8 to 12 feet long. This mysterious animal is believed to have 1 or 2 humps, a long neck, and a roundish football-sized head with a crocodilian snout. So there have been sightings throughout the years, but kind of like Nessie, nothing super substantial. A witness in 1975 claims that out of nowhere she saw a grayish object moving in the water, and whatever it was at least 8 feet long and had a small hump in the middle and was moving towards the eastern shore. So when she jumped into her car and drove to the point where she thought the object would come ashore, no sign of her. And when people pressed this witness afterwards for a description, she told them it looked like closest to a crocodile. She returned to Bala Lake the following day and found a very large dead pike on the shore with massive bite marks on it that are believed to have been left by Teggie. So another witness, going by B. Vickers, reported spotting the monster at close range in the summer of 1992. She said it was twilight when she was on the shingle beach of the lake in front of the Catamaran Club, looking for flat stones to, skim over the lake's calm surface, when she suddenly turned a full 80 degrees and looked straight at the monster, who was looking right back at her. So at 20 meters away, with its black head and neck clear above the surface of the water. Ooh, fun fact time! One expert has a theory that Teggie can move overland when necessary to feed or breed in other bodies of water or use rivers, which connect to other lakes and the sea to find fresh feeding grounds or, a mate. It's also believed that she could be nocturnal. It's also believed that she could be, like a nocturnal hunter, protected by the darkness and minimal nighttime lighting that is common in rural areas of the UK. Perfect conditions for a shy and elusive creature. Hey look, this all matches up with what I've been saying about introverted sea creatures. Let them have their privacy. In first place, we have the disappearance of Trevaline Evans. So normally when a shopkeeper puts up a sign saying they'll be back in 2 minutes, they'll be back within the hour. Right? Well, this shop owner and antique dealer, Trevaline Evans, put up this sign in 1990 and she hasn't come back. Longest lunch break ever, honestly. So she had been away during the week of her disappearance with her husband Richard, who was renovating the couple's holiday bungalow, and returned to Llangollen on Wednesday, the 13th of June. Fast forward to Saturday, the 16th, she opened her shop, Attic Antiques on Church Street, at the usual time of 9:30 a.m. and had parked her dark blue Ford Escort Estate 200 yards away. And for people like me who are completely vehicle clueless, notice how I stumbled over that because vehicles is just a 90s long blue car. Laugh all you want, but I constantly vex my dad with how little I can verify any type of vehicle, even though I've been surrounded with car knowledge since birth. It's not in the brain. So during the morning, approximately 25 friends and customers had called in, and according to the friends who visited, she appeared, relaxed, happy, and heck, she even made plans to go out that night. And the weather that day was sunny, according to the police, and the town center was described as, busy. At about 12:40 p.m., she left a note on the front door of her shop saying, back in 2 minutes. A well-dressed man was reportedly seen talking to her in the shop shortly before she left the note, but his identity was never confirmed. It is known that she bought an apple and a banana and was seen crossing the nearby Castle Street. Apparently, a banana skin was found in a dustbin in the shop after this time, so it's thought she must have returned there, but it was never confirmed. Her handbag, car keys, and jacket, along with fruit and flowers that she intended to take home, were left behind in her shop, and the car stayed parked where it was. There were 2 more suspected sightings, but both were unconfirmed. So let's dive into this. At 2:35 p.m., a woman matching her description was seen walking out of town along the A5 towards Corwin, beside the Riverside Park. At 3:45 p.m., there was another sighting, this time of a woman walking into Park Avenue from the direction of the River Dee. More than 1,500 names were investigated, and about 700 cars were eliminated from the inquiry. Searches of the river, the canal, mine shafts, and caves in the area were carried out, but nothing. In January of 2001, the case was reopened by police in the hope, new forensic techniques would suggest fresh evidence, but only led to a series of false arrests, including her husband. The case was re-examined in 2010 on the 20th anniversary of her disappearance, but we got nothing. No money was ever taken from her bank account, indicating to the police that she might have been abducted and killed. But the curious thing, she left so much behind, so she clearly thought she wasn't going to be long. And once again, the car was parked less than 100 feet away and stayed there. To this day, the case remains open, with calls for information still being asked for over 30 years later. Hey look, stranger things have happened. I remember back in 2009 hearing about a missing youngling case from the 70s that was finally solved thanks to a deathbed confession. That's the thing. Someone obviously saw something or was involved. Well, you just gotta wait for that person to come forward. And that brings us to the end of today's list, and I'm hoping all of these mysteries get solved someday. Look, as much as I love a good whodunit, I love wrapping it up in a big bow finale. Which honestly explains my lifelong obsession with Nancy Drew books, now that I think about it. Let me know in the comments which tale from today you think will never be solved though. And while you're down there, feel free to give us a like, subscribe, and hey, why not hit the bell for more scary content from us here at Top 5 Scary Videos. And I'll see y'all next time, you lovely spooky people.